What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Adriana Hatch, and welcome to another episode of Quit Talking Podcast, where we talk too much. I know that's right. Y'all, today's outfit is not only inspired by my hair not being done, but it's also inspired by the topic of conversation, which is the cost of living in California and budgeting effectively. And I brought out a very, very, very special guest today. This woman is not only making over a six-figure income, but she knows and understands what it means to budget effectively and not live above your means so that you can live a fly life. Okay, y'all give it up for my TT, and y'all know her as ForellyDanyelly. Hey, TT. Thank you for coming on this podcast.
Yes. Congratulations on your podcast.
Thank you. I've been begging her because she's such a busy lady. She got so much going on in her life, but she made time for me. I know that's right. Anyways, okay, so I want to just get right into it and talk about how just like it's just a struggle right now living in California for everybody. And the biggest part of the struggle is everybody is trying to live above their means. Everybody's trying to be flashy. Everybody wants to be on social media with the jewelry and the money and all this stuff, but don't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Okay. So yeah, what are your thoughts about just like what's going on in the world right now with just everything being so high and it just being so hard?
You know, I think that COVID really put a lot of stuff in perspective for us, right? It really shifted the way corporations operate. It really shifted and gave a voice to the consumers, because during COVID, we sat around and we were able to look at our homes and our places and say, I don't need this, and clean out a lot of stuff, right? So for some people, COVID was an awakening in a positive way and also in a negative way. It also caused a lot of people to lose work and it really put an imbalance in how people are being paid and the cost of living, how much it costs to have just a basic roof over your head. And so I think that we were on this kind of direction of expensive living, but I feel like after like 2019, 2018, 19, it just got crazy, and then COVID just broke it out. So it doesn't help that social media has all these people flossing and all their luxuriousness, right? And so then you see that and it makes you feel like, what am I doing wrong?
Exactly. And people don't take into consideration just like what the minimum wage is, just even to start off in California.
Okay, let's talk about the wages, right?
Literally, 2024, the minimum wage is $16 an hour. And it's like, when you see that, it's like, well, for one, how do I even live off that? Because how much are you supposed to be making?
If you go to the fast food joint, like I don't eat at McDonald's or anything like that, but like Chick-fil-A or like that's a meal. 1 day meal is your hour, like a lunch. You spend an hour's pay to have lunch and then some, because it's usually like what, $20 to get something to eat now at the cheap places. So like, what's going on?
Yeah, and then a lot of people don't even want to do those jobs. So they'll be like, okay, well, I want to, make some money. I want to make a good amount of money, but I'm not qualified. Okay, what am I qualified for? McDonald's, the grocery store, other fast food restaurants, you feel me, dispensaries. And a lot of people nowadays, weed is cool, weed is legal, everybody like the weed, but still people don't want to go sit somewhere, even if they enjoy it, or be like, it's not that big of a deal or it's not that hard to do. They don't want to sit there just for $16. They feel like that's a waste of my time. Why can't I just get up, go scam, go do something easy, you feel me, and come back? But they don't think about how there's a bigger issue with going out and doing that, because now you're putting your life on the line. You're always looking over your shoulder. You feel me? You might have the glitz and glamour and gold, but how long is that going to last? You feel me? And so that's why I'm super excited about today, because we can talk about like how to stay on a straight path. You feel me? With whatever job you got, whatever type of business you into, and you can still make your money. And if you learn how to budget with it, you can live the type of lifestyle you want to live.
And it's never too late. I really think about that, and I feel for people because life happens. If anyone can say that, I know that I definitely can say life happens. I've had plans and they've gone left many times over the course of the years. And, if you haven't gone to college and gotten an education or a trade and you want to make a transition, it's not too late to make that transition. Like, you literally could do that. Like, I didn't go to college straight out of high school. I had a few years and then I went to college. I mean, I did a whole career in beauty college and was an esthetician for like 11 years before I decided to go back to school, get my bachelor's, and then get my master's degree. So, I mean, it's never too late. but you do have to think about what looks attractive to you and really what brings you joy, because making money is great. Like, I know a lot of people make a lot of money, but they don't like their jobs. They don't like what they do every day to make that money. And if there's no joy in that, then you eventually are not going to really thrive in that area of making money. So you got to think about, what do you like to do? What are you talented at? This is such a different time. People make money in ways that you just never imagine. I mean, look at podcasters making money, influencers making money. Okay, I'm here for that. Right. So, like, you got to think about that. So the first thing is, what are you bringing in, right? And it's not about how much you make, it's how much you spend. And we in our community, people of color, particularly African Americans, we are notorious for living beyond our means, like spending more than we make. And this is a time that really makes you have to reckon and realize, like, I need to count my pennies, because I can't be doing all of that. So I just really think that the first thing is really assessing what's the work that you're doing, and do you like the work that you're doing, and how can you maximize on that work. And so if you need to go back to school, so many different programs you can go through. You know, when I went back to school to get my bachelor's degree, the thing that was most impressive to me is, you know, getting that Pell Grant, and then you get that extra money. And if I would have known then what I know now about investing and flipping that money, I would have done that. But I didn't. But I flipped it into a degree, so it still is working out, right? But so there's so many opportunities just in that alone with trade school too.
I think that's like super interesting that you said that, because like I got my bachelor's already in communications, but I'm going back to school on the 17th of this month, June 17th, to attain my real estate license. And I do enjoy the work that I do now, you feel me? But it's like you said, I'm not making enough with the job that I'm doing. It's able to get me by. I've been able to, you know, provide for my kids, myself. We got a house, we got a car, all the stuff like that. But when it comes to us doing the extra stuff, that's a struggle. I'm getting it done, but it's a struggle. I want to be able to live comfortably and get all my stuff done, not just my necessities, but my wants too. I like to travel. I like to go out places. I like to take my kids out. You know, I don't want to have to be penny pinching to do that. And so I feel like hopefully on this next journey that I'm taking, going back to school, which I do highly encourage, I'm hoping that it takes me to where I want to go. Because another thing people don't consider is when you get your degree, that doesn't mean you're just gonna
with it.
You know, you just gonna fly and be a star and do all these great things. It doesn't mean that. No. Like, I like to say that a degree is a backup plan. You feel me? It's something. It's like a parachute for when you fall, you can land, you know, safely. You always gonna be able to get a job. You always gonna be all those type of things. Doesn't mean you're gonna be a millionaire. Don't mean I'm gonna be making six figures like you just because I got. We both got our degrees, but you're in a different place than me. We still take different paths. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I won't get there. I'm just not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
And you have to have multiple streams of income, because even where I'm at financially, I still need additional streams of income, because life happens again. You got to have your emergency fund. You know, jobs are not guaranteed. No matter how good your job is, no matter how much you make, you could be an actress, an actor, an influencer, basketball player. You could be in the stock market. Whatever your work is, a doctor, a nurse, you can lose that job
quick.
That job you are beholden, and you could be self-employed. You know, I was self-employed for 11 years, yes, but you still are beholden upon the people coming to get your product or your service. So you got to have multiple streams of income. You got to flip that money and make it work for you, and you're not working for that money. And so, you know, I feel like going back to school is a great plan. Doing real estate, you know, is great. You could do some real estate and still do the work that you're doing. Now you got two pools to provide, and that is so good. You know, dual family homes, when you have two partners at play bringing into that household, that's so good, because you have one that could be providing for all of the necessities and things, and the other person building that savings up, right? We don't think like that. We like more in the pot, more to spend.
Yep. And I want to talk about those other streams of income. Like, I feel like so many people like talk down on like Instacart or DoorDash or Uber, Lyft, all that stuff, but like, honestly, like, I was making bank doing Uber and Lyft my whole time I was in college. Like, I wasn't working
so
you
I was doing Lyft when I decided I wasn't going to do contract work after being an executive director for a nonprofit. I just said, I'm not going to do that no more. I don't want to do any more contracts. I just really want to transition. And I had a desire to go into the work that I'm doing now. And so I started doing Lyft. And everybody was like, why are you doing Lyft? You have a master's degree. But I was killing it in Lyft, and I was really enjoying it. It's on your own terms. It's a cool, like, subsidiary income or, additional income. And many people have made really good money as a main income off of it. Like, I got a lot of friends who they did Lyft when I was doing it many years ago when it was first popping. And then I told you about it. I told my brother, I have my brother, you, both of my brothers actually, you, a couple of my friends all started doing Lyft because I'm like, this weekend I drove and in one day I made $2,300. I was like, what? I can show the receipts for it. And, that's a good, it ain't kicking like that I know of now, but it's still bringing in income and it's still feeding mouths, and that's what's important.
Yeah, and I just want to really emphasize that it's important that people stop trying to put down just every little thing that other people are doing. When if it's adding and benefiting to somebody's life, then you should be praising it, period. You know what I'm saying? And then also for ourselves, not just being like, oh, I don't want to be seen out there grocery shopping for other people or something like that. You missing out on money because you so worried about what other people saying and thinking, I can see if it's like, okay, I don't like to grocery shop, so I don't want to do that's not for me. That's different. But just worried about oh, well, what does that look like, me going out and doing this? Like for example, TT out here getting money, getting paid on her regular shift, still taking time to go out after work or on the weekends to make more money because like you said, it takes a lot to provide for your household, to take care of your family, to do all the things that you need to do. So extra income is important. Stuff that's lucrative is important. It don't matter
multiple
what it is.
Multiple streams of income, when you have multiple streams of income, you can set yourself up in a more secure place, right? You're not beholden to any one thing. So if something fails in one area, you got another area to help bring in that supply. And they don't have to be equally fruitful. You don't have to make the same amount of money or, be hitting six figures in all areas, but every little bit adds up and how you invest your money too. We just are not good at having that emergency account.
I don't have one, so
that emergency account, and it was many years before I had one. I will say I got on this whole journey around being more responsible, if you will. Oh gosh, it must have been about just this last 10 years, right? I just started realizing that, you got to have some things in place. And it was a struggle initially trying to get here. It was hit or miss, But the one thing that I know that I really have always been very strong about is having a little bit of money saved. Yeah. I've always done that. From a little kid, I always had some savings somewhere. Your dad always be like, you always say you don't have no money, but then you always showing up with some money. Yeah, that's my money. That's my money for when I need something. Exactly. You didn't have your money when you needed something, but I got mine, so I'm getting what I need, right? But that's just like something that just came from me. And, I found it to be very important. And now I make sure that I have money put away. If something goes bad, I got my rent covered for several months. I got food in my refrigerator. I got PG&E and cell phone. The necessities, the basics are covered. I know what my base need is to survive from month to month. And I look at that and I always think about, folks think they make all this money, they got it going on, and they start living above and living above. You got these $900 car notes, which I would never do. That's just insane. I don't care how much money I get. If I'm not flipping it and paying for it, I'm not giving no 900, because how much interest are you paying on that car? And that's money that you throwing away to somebody else to make them wealthy. That's trash.
It is. And I had somebody try to throw a jab at me, right, a couple months back. And they said, oh, get up out that old ass car, that old ass Lexus. And you know what? I actually felt proud about that jab, because I said, you know what? I paid this Lexus off $10,000 cash by myself, baby. And I got only insurance to pay every month, and my car worked good. It looked nice. I get it a little upgraded. I'm good in my little old ass Lexus. It took down from my overhead. It gets me from A to B, and I'm riding in style.
That's right.
And I paid it off in cash by myself.
That's right.
So sometimes people don't understand, it's not about what it looks like. It's about what it is. And what it is for me is I got my priorities straight. I can go out there and give me a Porsche and pay a note. I can get a Mustang, whatever. I can pay notes on whatever. Anybody could pay a note and fall behind on them and get their car repoed. That's a common thing. But as for me, I feel like the responsible and the more, prioritizing, my responsibilities is keep that car, use your money towards other stuff that matter, that's important, like my kids or the trips that I like to take or my rent or that emergency fund that I never came up with that I need to come up with. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
that's living wealthy. So Warren Buffett, he got more money than all of us. His car is like in the 80s. He don't buy new cars. Wealthy people don't do the stuff. They don't flash. When you got money, you don't got to show it. It shows up for itself. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest thing to go from. I just read to you what one of the young ladies that I follow that does budgeting has. She says, I wear Shein and Fashion Nova, and I what did she say? She said
she riding her.
She ride her 2016 Honda Civic so that she could sleep on $500 Crate and Barrel blankets and fly business class anywhere she want to go. You put your money where you value, right? We want to do it all, though. I want to spend all my money on all this luxury stuff, and I want to have the newest cars because everything is outward. Though, if you think about all those things, having a new car so somebody else could see that new car, right? Having that fancy purse so somebody else could see that purse. Having them, fancy shoes, somebody else, them clothes, somebody else. Everything is about what you're projecting out for others to see. But when you have a good savings account and good credit. And you taking trips that you can go to and ain't nobody got to be there and you sitting in business class and you got peace of mind and safety. Nobody else can really see that except for you experience it. It's a better quality of life. And so we have to get out of this trying to show off for everybody and really get into showing off for ourselves. What makes us happy. We can't keep trying to keep up with the Joneses, as they used to say back in the day, right? You got to keep up with what's important to you. And it's a perfect time right now for us to make an assessment and really change the course of our credit score, because when you have better credit, you have access to more at a lower cost.
Yeah.
When you have money in the bank, you sleep better at night. You're not stressing and worrying hither, thither, and yon. And as I go forward and I get better at it and I start to work on saving and spending more wisely, I'm able to take more trips. And let me tell you, it's a different feeling when you flying and you can fly first class and when you flying and you flying coach. I'm sorry, I am not trying to put nobody down. I don't have nothing to do with nobody. First of all, it feels good when you can just get on a plane and fly somewhere, and when you leaving out the neighborhood, right? So first of all, let's just get out the neighborhood, get in your car and take a drive up north or down south. Take Highway 1 and check out the ocean. Get some new scenery, right? It's a good feeling. But once you can get on a plane, a train, you know what I'm saying? And you just get into another continent, go somewhere else, go on another continent, go into another country, do something and experience that. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
But then when you can do that and you can upgrade
to another level,
another
level, because
they treat you different.
I ain't even on my first class hype yet, but just know it's coming. I can't wait because I love to be served. So
yes, it's all my. I think that me having an adult child that is doing her thing and is successful, married with 2 kids and able to do
her own business.
Yes, being able to do trips and get really nice gifts, from your child, that's when you know that you have arrived and you've done your due diligence. But when you could just do these things for yourself and you can go and stay in luxury hotels, they treat you different. It's different. It's a different life. And we need to everyone needs to experience it at least one time. I remember listening to what Steve Harvey said, just one time, buy yourself a first class ticket, just one time. And after you have that first class experience, you will never want to go back. And when I tell you, you will aspire to that. It makes me budget. It makes me stay on
I just
track.
got inspired. I might be doing that next week.
It keeps me inspired and focused, baby. I will make sure my coins is falling in the right pockets so that when that trip comes up, I could take that business class or first class flight, because the way them waitresses come or the stewardess, I call them waitresses because that's what they feel like. Them stewardess come and they serve you and you get your, you just all of the benefits. It makes you feel worth it, and it makes the work that you put in 40 hours a week every week for the man.
Plus
now
the
I feel validated.
That's when you're doing on the side.
Come on now, it makes you feel gratified. Like this is what I work for, to be able to experience this. So that's another thing. Just traveling and getting out of the normal space, like just sitting in the same area of people in the same neighborhood doing the same stuff routinely. That's not where it's at. It's not. You gotta stretch out, and you don't have to go far. You can go to Santa Cruz. You could go. There's all kinds of places down near Santa Cruz that you could go to. There's places up north you can go to. Find little towns and cities you never even heard of, and just go camp out there for the weekend. See what is to see. You will learn some stuff.
And a lot of people feel like, okay, well, I don't have the funds to do this, but this is where budgeting comes into play.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's many people. For you, example, you plan your trips ahead of time at the beginning of the year, or maybe right now. I will be planning for next year. Next year, I want to take 2 trips. One is going to be super long distance. One is going to be close by. How much is it going to take for me to do this? Am I going to be in an Airbnb or am I going to be in a hotel? What are the difference in pricing? Stuff like that. And that's how you make those things possible. I have 2 kids, 2 and 7. And their birthdays are 1 month apart. It's always the hardest.
Plan that well.
Exactly, no, for real. And it's literally like the hardest time of the year for me because I like to do stuff big. You know what I'm saying? I live above my means, clearly. But no, for real. But I like to do it big for them, so I really be like having to get stuff, done in a short amount of time because I don't do the effective budgeting and planning. And this year I'm trying to do stuff differently. So I started thinking in the beginning of this year what I wanted to do with them. And I'm hoping that it makes a difference. It hasn't came yet, but when it does come and I'm able to see, then I'll be able to compare, okay, this worked better for me this year that I started in January rather than started in July and the first birthday in August, the next one in September. So,
and just having some strategies around it. So let's talk about some strategies that you can put forward to get there. So if you got 2 kids the same time of the year, September, October, August, September, what have you, and you looking at January, they have stuff called cash stuffing. So you could do the 100 envelope challenge, and that's what you do. You take 100 envelopes. You write 1 to 100 on each of those envelopes, and they're representative of how much money you're going to put in each of the envelopes. Now it seems a little daunting. $100 in one whop in an envelope. You plan for that. If you know in January you're going to have all that Christmas money, you don't need to go shopping and partying and buying smoke and all that. I'm gonna put this $100 bill in here because this is ready to make it happen for me. The end of the year, right? Then the next one is $99. So your first couple of months of the year gonna be tight, but you're gonna be saving up money, and so you know that you need to get your money right all the way up until September, August, you know what I'm saying? So you maybe double it up in some months, the lower months. So maybe when it's time to put $50, you say, I'm gonna put 100 for this month because I want to make sure I'm doubling up because I'm not gonna really need that end of the year. But it's also a great challenge to do when Christmas is coming around. We notorious for spending everything we got on Christmas and can't pay our rent in January. I mean, that's how that is a trend in our community that we have to break. We gotta plan. Your bank will have a Christmas savings fund so that when you go to the bank and when you use your debit card, it will automatically take and round up the change into that savings account. You can save so much money like that. There are accounts, Ally, capital with a Q, QAPITAL. There is several little savings apps that you can get that if you set your account up with them, it will round up for you, and that's a savings process. And you'll be amazed how much money you'll save because y'all be swiping them cards. Them debit cards be going, baby. I see them all the time. And so when you swiping that card like that, all that, every time it's rounded up, all that is going into an account that you just don't give yourself access to. And once you look at it at a certain designated date, you'll be surprised how much money you save. I saved $500 last year like that. Because I don't swipe my debit card for everything.
Yeah.
But for what I do, I saved $500 on little roundups. Crazy roundups. But I did crazy roundups. So, but it makes you also spend less too, because you start realizing, ooh, this is, instead of this being $1.50, this is $2, right?
Right.
You start paying attention for those, right? But yeah, you just use strategies. You can do that. You can do cash stuffing. They have these little kits you can get, and you can save $1,500 a year. You could say $2,040 in a year. You just figure out how much you want to save for the year, divide it by 12, and each month you got to save this amount. And in that month, you can divide it out by the days. In 30 days, I got to get to $200. How much am I going to put in a day? Or if you get paid every other week or every week, you can start pulling the money out like that and stuffing. And that way you see your growth happening. But this is the key. So you get through savings, and then the next year when you do your savings, you go into a high yield savings account. So now you save it on your savings, right? So you start getting 5% back. American Express has a high yield savings account. Capital One with a C, CAPITAL. Not Credit One, because they will get you. Capital One has a high yield savings account, right?
Remember that, not Credit, Capital.
Right, Capital One.
Free game.
Right, Ally has a high yield savings account. Those are great places to stuff this $1,000 emergency fund or this end of the year money that you're vacation money. You want to go on a vacation, figure out how much you're going to spend on your vacation, divide that out, and start tucking that money a little at a time instead of taking that big drop at once and then struggling to get out, putting yourself at a disadvantage. You should never, ever, ever go on a vacation or go buy something, spend money, and you can't pay your rent, feed yourself, pay your car note, put gas in your car.
Or take care of them kids.
Or take care of your kids. Like, that was a bad plan. You didn't plan that appropriately. And I was there. So this is no shun on nobody, because I've been in those months, in those days of doing that. But I realized these last few years of me being more responsible and receptive and planning things out, it just is a different vibe altogether. I don't go nowhere and come back and have to eat pork and beans.
Yeah, or even putting yourself in more debt when you come back. You know what I'm saying? Borrowing more money. And I've done this before. You know what I'm saying? I've done it to where it's like I went out of town and wasn't in a great financial space, but I just wanted to go on that trip so bad and had to borrow some money. Now I come back from vacation where I'm supposed to be relaxing, overworking myself so that I can get out of this debt that I put myself in. So it was like, was the vacation really worth it? Because now I'm working extra hard when I'm supposed to feel rejuvenated and feel better after this trip, so it was a learning lesson. We all have those things that we do where after we learn, like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. And some people got to learn the hard way. I'm one of those people. I've probably been one of those people all my life, but I learned the hard way, but now I know. Another thing I want to say too with a strategy is people who have 9-to-5s don't always notice, and I didn't notice until recently. Because at my job, which I'm not going to say what it is, but at my job, I've been working there 4 years now. And I take a lot of PTO. Because like I said, I travel a lot. But I didn't know that with my PTO, I could cash it out. So one of my close friends who also worked with me in the past was telling me that he never uses his PTO. He uses sick time or whatever the case may be. And at the end of the year during Christmas, he'll cash out his PTO. He'll have like 250 hours. And he uses all of that to just buy his kids gifts. So he doesn't have to worry about saving up or doing this or doing that so that he can take care of Christmas. Christmas already taken care of because he knows he has his PTO saved up. So if people have jobs, they should look into that, because some jobs may not tell you. You might have to inquire. But they have different programs and stuff like that where you have cash sitting there waiting for you. You have access to cash and you don't know it. So
yeah, we can do that, but that doesn't work for me because I like to take my time off.
Me too.
So that's never an option for me. I'm never gonna have, and I get good time off. I get lots of weeks, and I use all of them, every last one of them. But I always make sure that I'm rolling over a week or two every year, because you never know when an emergency comes, and so I want to always have that time available. But yeah, that cash out is very true. I have a friend, and he does that all the time. He get his little fat check and be laughing at me, and I'll just be like, good for you, and I move on. Right. Because I'm not cashing that. If I see I got some time left over, I'm taking it.
No, for real. I'm out here. Another chance to leave. Bye.
Yes, exactly. But that is, people do that. You can also take that time and invest that money, right? And if you start investing that money, you don't have to be really big on it. So many people on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. There's no reason for you not to know how to do do anything in stocks. And I started that a few years ago, and I have a Robinhood account, and I have my few little stocks, and they struggling. I'm on the struggle bus. That's all right though, because I have read so many stories where people didn't know what they was doing. They was on the struggle bus, and all of a sudden it popped out, and
but
they
it's
got
an
some money.
It's
an investment, baby.
You don't know if it's gonna flop or it's gonna go off.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you just gotta take that chance.
And I just be believing in my heart that that's gonna be that's my $1 million sitting there. I just gotta just be diligent and say.
Yeah, I hope you get it too.
Right. No, for real.
Like, I need to get money else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But living here is so expensive to live in the Bay, and so it is nice to live in these luxurious places, but they cost a cute coin.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like you should try your best, which is what my goal has been. I've been pretty successful at it, is to live beneath your means. So, get your living as nice as you can for as low as you can.
So can we talk about the necessities a little bit? Like you need a car, you need a house, you gotta have gas, you gotta have insurance.
Right. And a car is actually a want and not necessarily a need in the Bay Area, because we do have public transportation, and that is an option. True. And people, so then that's when you have to weigh the option of want to need, because there are some people who may not even need a car because their work is walkable, right? Like, how do you make it as convenient for you as possible? In the city, a lot of people don't have cars. They do everything by public transportation. Yeah. So it's like, for me, it wouldn't be an option because where I work is so much further than where I live. So that's another thing. Be willing to commute. I don't know about them super long commutes, but I do live in a far place from where I work, about 40, 50 miles from my work. But it only takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to get to work, and in the evening it might take about an hour, 15 minutes. So above that, I don't know that I could do, but I think that is a doable kind of, commute.
Yeah.
So staying within your means or below your means, that is so key. But because you're doing that, so this is the trick that I fell into, right? Because you're living below or within your means, then you have all this extra discretionary spending, right? That you can spend. It's like extra money sitting there. Don't start spending, because that's what I was doing for a few years, spending that extra money, right? Life was good. You pop it out on all of this and do it, because we all fall subject to it, right? And that's when I began to realize, like, you know what, I'm spending all this money every month, loaning money to everybody, don't remember who I gave some money to, and just craziness. And I said, you know what, I need to really start looking at where is my money going. So if I could say anything that you could take with you, I would say start with a budget. Just write down everything that's a necessity and see where you spend your money. And in order to get there, just for 1 month, write down every dollar that you spend, every coin that you spend, every dime. Just every day, when as you're spending, you can have a little notebook, and as you're spending, write down what you bought and how much it was. Don't restrict yourself or nothing. Just do what you do and just write it down. At the end of the month, categorize that stuff. Figure out what the totals is and see how much money you're spending and see how much money you brought in. And that's to tell a story, as you know, already. It's very humbling. I brought you on my budget and path many a time, and you're like, I can't do that. That right there, that don't work for me. I don't like what it's telling me. But once you can come to grips with what your reality is, then you begin to say, okay, I need to reassess. And so the big thing that I did this year is I realized, like, I had so many subscriptions. As you know, I did a purge the first quarter of the year, January, February, March. It was about elimination, and the first thing I started doing was my financial elimination. And I started with all these subscriptions that I had. I had a subscription to FabFitFun. I had a subscription to Scentbird. I had wine subscriptions. I had Izzy and Liv subscription.
You was just subscribed.
I was subscribed. I had packages coming all the time, as you know, to my door, just all kinds of stuff. But then that stuff was creating masses and abundance in my home too. It was just too much. It was like gluttony almost. And I was like, you know what? I'm cutting it all out. And when I cut all that out, it was like $600 extra in my pocket. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Even subscriptions to streaming like Hulu, Netflix, all this. If I'm not watching it, I'm cutting it off. And I had stuff that I wasn't even watching that I'm paying for. Now. Exactly. That my show ends as soon as that season ends for the show. So do my payments until it come back, and then I restart it. They don't charge you no fee for stopping and starting. Why am I paying for these extra 8 months?
Right.
that I'm not watching because the show is only 3 or 4 months, right? So now I've just been cutting and starting, cutting and starting. And, you know, that's another $120 you can save just in crazy TV subscriptions that you subscribe to. On your phone, this phone, man, the apps, all these little apps you get into, and you have that coming out of your account. I went through my subscriptions on, if you have an Apple phone, then you can look under subscriptions and it'll show you everything you subscribe to, and you can just start deleting. So it doesn't because that attack your account every month if you set it up like that, if you don't pay for the annual.
And I think they be charging a little extra stuff, because I be getting something from Apple 99¢, 99. Like, I don't even be ordering
the storage stuff. And so you have to look at that and stay on top of that, because baby, I will call them, I will let them know, you took 4 cents out of my account.
No, for real. I need my 4 cents.
Exactly. Like, I've become like a czar when it comes over my dollar.
When I want change, I'll be like, I got a penny. Where's my penny? Oh, you want it? Why would I not? You took my dollar. You think I don't want my penny? The pennies add up.
And they add up.
I'll be at the change machine like this.
Exactly.
Jumping on my change out. Give my money back.
It's so true. It's so true. So yeah, so just looking at stuff like that. And then it's another one. I was just talking to somebody yesterday. So I was like, you know, clean out your closet. And as you know, I go to the consignment store because I wear suits and things to work. And I do have designer wear and I do have name brand clothing, and you just throwing it to the wind. I just was like, you know what, I could get something for this. So I have an account at a consignment store that I take my clothes to, and I make money off of that. So before I buy more clothes, I go and do my consignment store, and I take that money and I rebuy. But the stuff that I don't feel like they're going to take, I started sending to Thread Up. But they have other, that's something called Vinted that you can do. You just put it in the bag, mail it off, and this is the tea. If you don't know, like, this is not something I really want to get to the consignment store, but I don't know if, like, what is it called? Buffalo Exchange or whatever is going to take it. I put it in that thread-up bag like it's going to the Goodwill, and I send it, and with my fingers crossed, I'm like, maybe they'll take a few items, because I thought it was going to be, instead of just automatically going and just dumping it to nothing. And you know, I done kicked back maybe $50, $200 occasionally from stuff that I thought was just going to be thrown away, right? And so that's other income that you're bringing in, and you can be replenishing. For people with kids, I don't know why, but if I had me some little kids right now, I would be shopping at Target, that Cat and Jack.
Oh yeah, you can return it.
You can return it. It don't matter when, no matter how jacked up it is, they don't go take it. You get it replenished, and you go get your kids some more clothes. Every school year, I would pay 1 year and get all Cat and Jack, and then next year they're gonna see me back.
Free game.
Right, and give me some more school clothes as Cat and Jack.
And this exactly, this goes back to the everything is for show, because I swear to you, like 3 days ago, I was out in Berkeley at the park with Lolo. We at the park. I'm looking at all these white people and all their kids. They be dressed like they didn't even. They let their kids get themselves dressed. They let their kids shop for themselves. It looks like they just be having on some little flooding sweats, a little t-shirt, and some little Payless shoes. Well, Payless ain't no more, but like some Skechers or something. And they be out there living the best life, and they probably make more money than me and every other person at that park. Their parents, but that's because they're not caring about what everybody else is looking at and seeing. I be getting my kids these expensive shoes, expensive clothes, like. The
kids don't care. They don't even know.
They don't.
If it don't got Mickey Mouse or Spider-Man or something like that, they don't care.
Environment. Because the thing about it is, Papa didn't care at first. Now that he's getting older, and the school that he goes to, and the type of kids that he be around, and not saying there's nothing wrong with them, but because their lifestyle, the type of clothes that they wear, and what they praise, and what they like, oh, I got the new Jordans, I got this, so my son want that. Me being a mom, you know, I'm like, oh, you want those? I'm gonna get him. He wants to be like this. This was or whatever. I'm getting them, but that's taken out of my budget. That takes a lot of money out of my budget to spend $100 and something on some shoes. That's gonna be for 2 weeks though. I only
what are you teaching him?
Because he gonna mess his shoes up literally.
But think about what you're teaching him now,
right?
Because Dante got these on. I hope that little boy in the school. I just called the name out. You know, and he bragging on his shoes. Now I'm gonna go get me some, or I'm gonna have to one up him, and now he gotta go get something. And it's putting y'all in a battle that y'all don't even know y'all in. Get out the battle. Just be like, no, we not getting in. What we gonna do is I'm about to go over here and we gonna get these are the shoes you wear to school. These are your school shoes. But we about to go to Six Flags this weekend, or we about to do whatever this weekend. Right. It's like putting his priorities together. We gonna put some money away for you because we're gonna go to summer camp this summer. Like really teaching them And it starts that young, teaching them how to save, teaching them what to value, you know, what's important. The way you dress is not who you are as value. It's who you are on the inside. It's the character of who you are. That's what's important. Build that up. Build your character up.
Yep. And that's so important too, because there's so many people out here who look the part, but they are ugly people. And you might see them in public and be like, oh, I like this person. Now, you know, when you start thinking about dating and stuff like that, oh, there's somebody I can see myself with. He got this, he got that. Then you get to know him. You like, you a narcissist. You don't care about nobody. You're selfish. You all these things, all these bad characteristics and traits about yourself. But you got the money. You look good.
You got that good car, but you living with your mama.
Oh, that'd be the one. Like, come on now. Everybody else is like, you got it going on, but you still going back home and got to listen to somebody else's rules. You ain't no boss. I don't care how much money you got. If you ain't setting your own rules and putting stuff together yourself and got your own stuff that can't nobody kick you out of or tell you, then you're not a boss. You're a bum. So it's a lot of bums nice that look good.
4 y'all living in one bedroom apartment. That's, you know, it don't make no sense to have a Mercedes and a BMW and Benz and what do you call them, and Maybachs and all this, pulling up to an apartment, you know, and it's 20 of y'all living in that apartment. Who does that? Like, you gotta have other values, you know. With no, and let me get it straight. Pull up to an apartment with no savings and barely surviving, right? No food, because if you doing that and that's how y'all choose to do, because you saving and stacking your money, because you own properties everywhere, you're investing. That's a whole different story. But I'm saying the bad for show look,
leeches.
Or just the for show look where you out there flashing, but you really don't have nothing to back that flash up at all. That's not what you want to do.
It's not. And I also was gonna say that about the living at home, like what you said about like you got property somewhere or something like that. Like roommate situations aren't bad. If I didn't have kids, I would be in a roommate situation right now because
it's a step ahead.
Exactly. You can get a big space where people don't gotta be in your face. You can still have a comfortable living, but you're saving money, and I feel like that's a great option for people who
very
don't
much
have kids, or if you find somebody who have kids also
and
who has
the
same type of
that's
the same type of mindset
vibe.
and values as you when it comes to how you want to live your life and how you want the foundation of your house to be, and that's cool. It's hard to find that. I mean, at least for me, because I really don't be trusting people when it comes to my kids. You know, I might pay my rent now this month. You short talking about you can't do it. I'm not. No, I already got other stuff to worry about. But if you can find that, then it's cool. You know, and I also feel like a lot of people who start failing or start getting to a place where they're not doing so good, they still want to continue to maintain what they have, even though it's a struggle for them, rather than like doing something like spending 6 months at their humbling yourself. Spend 6 months at your mom's house and then get yourself back on your feet, and then you know, go back out and do what you need to do. People don't want to humble themselves. They like, oh, again, what's everybody else gonna think? Fuck what everybody else is gonna think. Literally do what you need to do that so that you can be better, because when this world ends and everything's over with, all them people ain't gonna have nothing to say. It's gonna be over with. It's all about you and the life that you're living right now. What's making you happy, what's making you feel happy, healthy, and wealthy, really, because wealth is not only just a specific amount of money. Wealth is all the feelings that you have about yourself and your life, and all the things that you contribute to that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so yeah, I just wanted to speak to that too. Like, so long story short, if y'all need a roommate and y'all got some kids, I'm tired of living above my means. Right. But yeah, so okay, let's move on. So budgeting effectively, we've been getting really into it, and I'm loving it. But I want to talk about overhead, because a lot of people don't know what the overhead is. So like, what is overhead? How do you determine what's your overhead based off of like what's not? You know what I'm saying? And then how do you squeeze in the stuff outside of that, you know, in your budget?
So for me, what I look at is my core base necessities are my overhead, right? So a core base necessity would be like your mortgage or your rent, would be like your electricity, right? It would be your food, because you got to eat, right? It would be, for some, their car, right? And nowadays it's our cell phone, because we don't have maybe a wall phone, we don't have landlines, right? Those are your core base, along with your health insurance, your dental insurance, and this is going to really throw you, your life insurance, right? And if you're renting, you want to have rental insurance, right? So you see, these things are basic core items that you have to have if you don't have nothing else, right?
Something that's going to come every month that you know
that you got to do,
pay.
And it is a part of the foundations of your living. Now, some of these wants, some of these extras, and for some it would be internet because you need the internet in order to do your work, right? But then you're going to put like your streaming channels on that launch side, right? So that you don't have to have, like, if everything else failed and I had to pay just my skeletal, I don't need to have streaming TV. I need internet so I can get a job, but I don't need streaming TV, right? I'm about to figure YouTube out, right? You don't have to have cable. So some people have cables. You don't need cable. You don't need to have your credit cards can go. If I'm struggling and I gotta pay the minimum, them credit card bills is getting ready to lapse. I'm sorry, but if it's between me eating and me paying a $40 credit card bill, that $40 going in my mouth, and I'll figure that credit stuff out later, right? You know, don't lose your life over a credit card bill. They will figure it out, right? I mean, I know nobody wants bad credit, but when I'm looking at like the core necessities, but at the same time, if I have the choice of paying my credit cards and going on a trip, I'm paying my credit cards first, and then I'm figuring out what's left over to go on a trip, right?
And this is something that you taught me too, that I also want to emphasize to y'all, is that if you're going to spend something with your credit card, you already need to have the money to pay it back. You know, and I struggle with that for, like, I messed my credit up at a young age, and I'm building it back now. When I was fresh 18, I got my first credit card. I was out there in college. I had no money. I was like, oh, this some free money. I'm finna go spend it, and I spent it up. Okay, U.S. Bank is still on my line about that credit card I got from them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm paying it down. I'm getting it back. But that was because I didn't have that mindset of, okay, I need to have the money, the actual money to pay it back already tangible. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to, oh, I'm gonna make it next week. Oh, when I get paid this, I need to have that. If I'm gonna go spend $50 at this restaurant right now, my credit card, tomorrow I should be able to call and make that $50 up. You know, and that's the key that I've gotten from you when it comes to having a successful relationship with credit.
And I had to learn that because I messed up. I've had credit 3 times over, honey. I've had large credit cards, and ruined credit, paid that off, got forgiveness, came back through, thought I was on the right track, fell off. Oh well, okay. I'm back on the struggle bus again. I done had all the struggle bus credit lines. You know, if you need a credit, you want to build your credit. Let me tell y'all, Premier credit card will take you. You get you a secure one and get you a regular one. You on your way to some credit because they gonna give you a credit, and that's like everybody that started from the bottom. They started with that Premier credit card. They've been around for years because we making them rich.
No, for real.
With our bad credit habits,
we know y'all gonna need us. We ain't going nowhere.
Exactly. But you know, I went through so many years, and my whole goal in life, my last time around was like, I gotta give me an American Express card, and I was just on the struggle bus. I think it was like 19, 18, somewhere around there, and I was like consistently been paying credit cards and doing my thing, and everything was going good with my credit. You know, I had been consistent for a few years, and bam, American Express had the nerves to bless me with a credit card. Look, they blessed me, and I got my American Express card, and ain't no looking back. I'm like, I keep my credit good just because I don't want American Express to snatch it back. I'm like, because I've been wanting me an American Express card, you know. Privileges, membership has its privileges, y'all. Because then when you traveling, you can go into the Centurion Lounge, baby.
Yeah, you get free drinks and food.
Yes, the lounge. It make waiting on a flight so much better. You can book your trips on there. You get points. I get all kinds of free stuff. So what I do with my credit cards, I have a couple of credit cards that I have rewards. Points, and in December I like to try and build them up all year because in December I like to cash them out for different gift cards. You know, I do that, and I get my little gift cards, and so wherever I like to shop. So I've done Bath and Body Works. I have done Nordstrom's is my spot. So I've gotten many gift cards from Nordstrom's through my credit card. But everywhere that I like to go, I just get my little gift cards. And you can do like a Visa card by American Express card, like all kinds of little cash cards, and then I just go shopping for myself for Christmas, wrap the stuff up, put it under using, and I bless myself. And so it's just different ways that you can leverage credit, and you can leverage these different, you know, get you a debit card that gets cash back, and go to places where it says use all those cash rewards on it. If you're going to gas stations and they have a little reward card, that 76 up there, they have like a little rocket card.
20 cents off a gallon or something like that if you pump your
gas. You want to do those things. these are all ways that you can move yourself forward, to be honest, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got some more free game too. So not for you because you already know, but for y'all. Basically, if you trying to work on your credit and you know somebody like in your family or a close friend who has really, really great credit and you would like to up your credit, you can actually get a credit card on their line. And it'll help build your credit. The thing about it is sometimes people be like, you ain't gonna mess my credit up. You can tell them, don't even give me the card. Just keep the card. They can keep it with themselves. It'll just have your name on it. So all the stuff that they're buying and paying towards, you will get on your credit report. So it'll help build your stuff. Now, if they do some stuff and overmax their card, you know, and don't tell you, and it can mess you up. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's why
usually
you have to
people who
check
have good credit or who have decent credit, they're not going to mess their
exactly.
Generally, are not going to mess their.
But that's also a good way to go. My mom actually, that's how I had my first American Express card. My mom helped me out and did that for me, and that helped me raise my credit some too. She put me on another card, maxed that thing out, so that one didn't help. But that's why I got both experiences. Look, I was still grateful. So thanks, Mom. Telling all your business. But anyway, so
it also impacts her card as well, her credit as well. So as you as you do that, like the person has to be willing to take that hit. As you know, Chi don't play them games, right? So that's not something that I will be doing, because you know, I worked for this. This is hard, and it's not an easy trek for me. And so for me, I really value it. And also another thing is, you know, when people are telling you about things you can do for your credit, listen. Don't have such a hard head, even if you're not there and you know it hits you. You know, this is one thing that I had to share with Adriana when I was sharing. When I said, listen, you need to listen to what I'm telling you, because the first thing y'all will say is, didn't nobody tell me? But I'm telling you, you just didn't listen. So it's not that nobody's telling you, it's that you don't want to listen. You don't want to listen because you want to keep those bad habits going, because it's comfortable, right? And it's not just you. You know, several folks don't want to listen. And you know, a person that is coming into good credit or coming out of a credit struggle can tell you a whole lot when they're on a path to getting good credit, because they're doing that research. Why you got to go do the research that I've already done? Right. I'm telling you what I have come to know for your benefit, right? And the one thing I'll tell you is I live by it. I have a budget book that I use every year. A budget book. I do my budget every time I get paid. I don't spend $1 before I do my budget. And a budget does not mean lack. A budget does not mean to take away from. A budget just lets you know where your dollar is going. If you know where your money is going, then you can be successful. My money works for me. I don't work for my money. And that's what's most important I had to learn. And the money does not define who I am. I define that dollar and tell it what it's going to do for me and put it to work. Right?
That's right.
Right? My mindset was wrong for so long. So now, before I get paid, the week that I know I'm getting paid, like this coming week, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write down and make sure I have everything situated so that when that money hit, everything is assigned to an account, and that account is assigned to work for it, to work that money out, right? So I have an account that all my bills come from. I don't never touch that account. It's just the bills come. My main account, everything falls in there, and then it disperses. Boom! I got a main account. It disperses. That main account pays my bills. It pays off. It sends it to an account that's my account. I get paid. When I get paid to my main check that I pay myself, this is how much money I get. I have an allotted amount. I have my own savings that I have built out of my own personal money that I give myself to spend every month. I then have a savings account attached to that account so that then I can save on my own free money. So whatever I choose to do with that money is on me. Right. That's just all the money I got until the next paycheck, though, right? Then my main account, I got my savings. And I got two savings that come from. I got my emergency fund savings, then I got my sinking fund savings. And sinking funds are just like little things I want to do, like gifts, vacation, if I want to buy luxury items, my household upgrades, all that goes into different sinking funds. Car repair, I'm always putting a little something away in each one of these pockets so that I have some money tucked away, so when that comes by, I'm not spending out of my personal and I'm not spending out of my main. And having that money sorted out like that, so my major emergency fund is in a high yield savings account, so I can get to it, but it's still flipping money. And my personal savings is in a high yield savings account, and it's always making extra more, and it's always growing. I always have an allotted amount growing. It's always coming. It's always coming. It's always growing, right? And that way, I'm not cross pollinating, if you will, having everything in one, and then I'm overspending. I done spent $1 27 times. That's what we do. I'm gonna get paid. You spending that paycheck 9,099 ways, and you wonder why your bank account is overdrawn.
Right.
I used to be the notorious for them bank fees, baby. Let me tell you, I was the bank fee queen and the parking ticket queen. Talk about giving some money away.
I was wondering where I got it from.
Them parking tickets. Child, I could have my registration be $90, but by the time they get through putting all them tickets on there, it's $690. $1,000, right? All that going to fees. That didn't make no sense. How much money have you wasted doing stuff like that? Bank fees, they charge you. Thank God for Biden. Y'all be talking about Biden ain't doing nothing. He's working miracles. He talking about you will no longer be paying $36 on them back bounce check or overdraft fees. Oh, yeah. I'm like, why he didn't come about 20 years ago?
No, for real.
I needed him back then. Now I be mad at myself if I have an overdraft. I look for the annual or for the year, and I look at what my fee ratio is to like how much I brought in to how much interest I gained, how much money the bank paid me for just having my money there. I'm like, if my interest ain't higher than my fees, then I got a problem. Yeah, because I'm basically over there working for them. They not working for me. And I had the first year where I could literally see, y'all be like, that interest ain't nothing. It's like 50 cents. It's like 40 cents. But when you have enough money in the bank and you don't be doing dumb stuff to get fees, you can earn $120, $300 on some money in a year. And you don't have to have a whole lot of money to do that. Just consistently and not let, because then they waive your fees for having a checking account. Like all kinds of privileges come again, but just being responsible. Yeah. And that's what I'm learning now. Yeah. Like these last maybe 3 years have been the most beneficial financial years for me ever. Now, more money, more problems. Taxes have been kicking my behind. That's my biggest cry. I'm trying to win at the tax game.
That's another thing, because you have to pay taxes because you make so much. So we get taxes returned.
Yes. When you get over a certain amount of money that you're making, then the amount that's deducted is less. So I've hit the bracket where I pay 40% taxes on my income. That's a lot. That's a lot. So if you say you make 100,000, they taking 40,000 of that, so you really only make 60,000.
That's crazy,
right? And so you have to live within that. So I can't be living and saying, "Well, I make 100,000." No, because you paying taxes off of that. Right. Then after you pay your taxes, I have my 401k. You got to save for your retirement. Right now, you should be putting money away, even if it's a little bit. You need to be putting something away every paycheck towards retirement, because that day is going to come, and you want to have some put away, and make sure you have your beneficiary set up on that so that your kids get it if something happens to you. And so that's a chop out of your money too, right? And so at the end of the day, you're left with this small pocket, and when you get that small pocket, you want to slice that pie appropriately so that even in your today life, you're living well, but you're planning for your future.
Yeah. That's very smart and important. And I'm trying to think about having to even put money aside. Like, all this talk is so great, but it stresses me out. Like, I'll be so stressed out by the end of these conversations, because I'm like, oh my God, I got work to do. Yeah, let me just start somewhere. Okay, we're gonna start somewhere, because this is a lot. But like you said, I'm looking at after all the work has been done for you. You know what I'm saying? You have to do the work.
Yes. Small steps. It's small steps. So if I can leave you with anything, so that you don't be stressed out.
I'm like, oh my God.
The first thing I would say that you need to do is you need to assess your spending. So just spend a month right there. It's the first. Today is the first.
It is the first.
You can start today. Rent is due. And so I paid my rent last week. So that's the other thing, is I paid my rent. When I get paid, I don't hold on to my money and wait until if I got the money, I give it to them and I move forward. Right?
I'll be at her door like this.
Right, I don't want to give it to you.
My money back.
So yes, and I budget that out. Like, remember what I said? Everything is budgeted out, so I don't have to worry. But if I leave you with anything, I would say for 30 days or for the full month, write down your spending. Don't worry about not spending. Just write down everything you spend your money on every day. You know, if you buy some candy for 40 cents, write that down. You just want to write that down. Then at the end of the month, you just want to figure out, categorize it. Is this eating out? Is this groceries? Is this clothing? Like, just categorize your things. Once you see your categories, you can go another month and do it to see if you're consistent. If not, you can set your categories up and say, for the next month, this is how much I'm going to make sure I spend. I'm going to put money aside. You can use envelopes in order. You can say, my food money, and tuck it in that envelope, and my gas money, tuck it in that envelope, and start spending out of that envelope, and don't spend more. Then if you see you have some left over, you're like, oh, so this is stuff that I can adjust, and that's how you build your budget around it. Well, I want to save $20 this month. Start small. If you can just save $20 this month, then you take that $20 savings, write an envelope, put that in there, put it away.
Right.
Then the next month you build, I want to save $40 a month. What am I going to take it from? Is you start using that envelope method because it's tangible. You can feel it and see it. When it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
Basically, you get to going in the other ones, it's going to feel funny. That's how you build to your savings. Writing everything down. You start writing down my rent. Know when your stuff is due. This credit card is due on the 5th. Don't pay it on the 12th. Pay it on the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th. Like those basic elements. I mean, there's so much more too that I can give you to build your credit, but just learning that basic step is so important. Just get a budget. See what's within your means, and then discover, am I living out of my means because where I'm living is too expensive for me? I need to find some cut my expenses down. So maybe I need to move to a less expensive place. Maybe I don't need this car note. I need to get a cheaper car. Like, this is the things that is, but you have to be honest with yourself and be willing to be honest with yourself. Maybe my habit of drinking, and smoking is not good for my budget.
I was just going to say that. So I was going to say, we haven't hit on it yet, but we need to also include in our budgets our bad habits and our good habits. If you are a weed smoker, that has to go in your budget, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, that's where most of your extra miscellaneous money is going. You know what I'm saying? And not even the miscellaneous money. Sometimes you're going into your food money and your rent money, because it's your like, PG&E money. My PG&E ain't due yet. I got a couple more weeks. I can make that up. No, you need to keep that overhead where it's at. And if you can't smoke today, you better go call somebody who be smoking and see if they can burn it. Because at this point, like, but on some serious stuff though, you really got to add that to your budget, because if you are a serious weed smoker, some people really smoke weed every single day. Some people got to have their wine every single day. Some people got to have whatever the case may be. That needs to be in your budget too, because if you say, I'm gonna spend it's like $25 a day, $30 a day. If you say, like, I'm gonna spend $250 on weed this month, which is a lot of money, but we spend way more than that. If you really be smoking weed, then you need to stick to that $250. Roll smaller blunts. You don't need to roll an eighth in every blunt. I know you don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what, girl. This is foreign language for me. But what I will say is, this is another thing. Think wisely. Don't go every day and buy a Swisher or a wrap at the liquor store. Get the 8-pack. The 8-pack is cheaper than the one.
Said a Swisher. Let everybody know that you don't smoke. Swisher's been since I was in high school. Like, Swisher's been out the door for real.
Whatever it is, get you an 8-pack. Don't get one. I know y'all be going to the store and getting one. If you drink beer, don't go buy one beer today, one beer tomorrow. Buy the 6-pack. Buy the 24-pack. Exercise some discretion, some resistance, some control. I'm gonna drink one beer a day for the next.
Don't buy the whole 6-pack and drink the whole
6-pack today, right? Acting ridiculous. Yeah, because you can start figuring out, how can I maximize these items, right? Like, maybe if I get a larger quantity of weed, then I get more. I can stretch it more than if I'm getting these little bitty dime bags, which y'all probably don't do that no more either. These little dime bags, and I'm spending way too much, right? Like, you want to get more and make it expand, basically. And then think and reconsider, is this something that is adding to the quality of my life?
Right.
Or is it taking away from the quality of my life? Like, is it something, when I buy wine, I don't buy wine, I have tons of wine. I don't drink wine every single day, and I don't drink it every weekend, but I have wine when I need it. If I'm going somewhere, I don't have to stop at the store and say, let me go get a bottle of wine. No, I'm grabbing it off my bar, and I'm bringing wine with me to the hostess or to the, you know what I'm saying? Like as you mature and you get older, you start to think about those things, right? You have yourself a little setup. If you like to go out and party with your girls on Fridays and Saturdays or with your boys, you know what? That's why we did house parties with my mom's era, because it's so much cheaper to throw this stuff at your home and have a few friends over and everybody brings something. You don't have to host and provide everything. Right. Everybody brings something. Community is a beautiful thing, and it moves you towards moving forward. So just because you on a new journey and you trying to be more wise, together you all can build and have that same experience in a safer space and not spend all your money up.
Exactly. So I need to actually think about throwing some house parties, because I wasn't even thinking about that in the last couple of years. But I will throw some house parties, and y'all just thank TT because she put me on the idea.
Some little kickback. That used to be the thing. You just have some folks come over and, you know, hey, you bring this, you bring that, you bring this, and everybody get here and you pull that together and you know, and you chilling.
Having fun. Instead of going to the club every weekend.
Paying $25 to come in the club or $20 in every drink you paying, you know.
Don't let us have to get no table.
Okay. Okay.
Even though that's to the men.
And you can straight get bottle service at your house.
Exactly. Because that same $60 bottle of Don Julio gonna be $600.
Exactly. So, exactly.
I'm just saying, budget, prioritize.
Yes, prioritize.
But anyways, okay, before we wrap it up, I just want to go back over a couple of the tips that we had for them. I'm going to name a couple first, and you can name some that I forget or whatever. We talked about if you are a single individual and you don't have your housing situation straight right now, maybe looking to roommate it with somebody who has the same like values or just ways about how they want their foundation of their household to go. Another one is creating and sticking to a budget. You can create something, but if you don't stick to it, it's not going to work. And that's where I find myself feeling. I'll create a budget and not stick to it. And I have to really like follow through. That's the most important, is following through. Another thing, set vacations in the beginning of the year. Already know where you're going. Start planning now for next year so that your budget is already created. You know where you're going. You know your travel expenses. You know your housing, all that stuff. So that's already set in stone, and you can go with ease. You don't have to worry about stressing the months coming up to the vacation. And another one that we didn't talk about, but I would like to add, is meal prepping. If you know anything about meal prepping, that's a great one. I know so many people who have so much good feedback about that. Making your meals in the beginning of the week. It does get tedious sometimes when it comes to eating the same thing. That's the only thing that I would say I've heard negative about it, is just you eating the same thing multiple times a night. But if you grew up like I did, you know leftovers is a real thing, so you should be used to it. You grew up on it.
Is just planning your grocery list out before you go grocery shopping, planning what you're gonna eat, is also considered meal prepping. I'm single, so I will make tacos on Tuesday, and on Thursday I might have enchiladas with that same meat, or I might make nachos with that same meat. So you could put a twist on the leftovers. You don't have to have the same leftovers. I'll fry some fish on. I'm gonna fry some fish tonight. Okay. I'll fry some fish tonight.
Come eat with you.
I'll fry some fish tonight, and I'll put a couple of pieces up. And on Tuesday we having fish tacos. You know what I'm saying? It's like the way you put a twist on your meals. Flip it. You can bake some chicken, and one day you eating that baked chicken, another day you having chicken on your salad. Another day you make a chicken salad sandwich. You know, you can make different things out of one item to make it expand and makes your dollar spread.
Yeah, those are some great tips. We're doing all of this for y'all, putting out free game for y'all. Listen to what TT said. It's important that you actually listen to the free game you're getting. Don't have to learn the hard way. If you can get the tea now and go on a path where you don't have to fall a million times before you can stand tall and fix your crown. You hear me? But anyways, thank you, TT, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Can you let them know, where they can find you, your Instagram, your YouTube, what you have going on, what things do you do, what are your hobbies, what businesses or whatever are you starting or doing? Just put them up on game about you.
So you can find me on YouTube. My YouTube is about wine, travel, and lifestyle. It's Forelly's Finds on YouTube.
Tag below.
And I'm on Instagram. You usually get a snapshot of what's happening, so when I don't update my YouTube, you still know what's happening. And then It's the same on TikTok, and TikTok is fun for me. Let me tell you, if you have more than 1,000, look, I am not a gatekeeper. I'm gonna share everything. If you have at least 1,000 followers on TikTok, you can become a TikTok affiliate, and you can make money like that and get free items. So see, it's just always some way to make $1. I'm in for it. And what do I have coming up? I don't have a lot coming up. You know, I'm planning a trip this year. I'm doing a family trip. We're going down to Mexico, and then at the end of the year we're going to Africa, and then next year is the big year where I'm trying to get to the Maldives or South Africa. So and I'm planning for that now. So yeah, those are the travel vlogs that you'll see. But yeah, hit me up there. I'm trying to get my subscribers up. So come on over and check me out if you like wine, if you like travel and lifestyle. I talk about buying Tiffany wine glasses, which I drink out of, and all the things luxury. I love perfume. So yeah.
So if you're trying to make $1, give TT a holla. Okay. But anyways, thank you, TT. Yes. It was such a pleasure having you. Always a pleasure spending time with you. Love you so much. And until next time, make sure you tune the fuck in and never tune out.
The dog did, girl. You said even the dog did. What the bumbleclad? Wait, I got that on video. Even the dog did. That's hilarious.
Welcome back to my channel, and here are my recommended wines for fall with a price point under $20. My thoughts when considering these wines were 1, medium and full-bodied, 2, earthy and oaky buttery, 3, cozy. It's hard to measure, but you know it when you feel it, and 4, those blends. Something about the fall calls those blends. Now let's go shopping. For this video, I decided to go on location at my local Total Wines & More. Total Wines & More offers a very wide selection of wines from all over, international and domestic. And they always have knowledgeable staff available to help with your selection. I could spend hours perusing the aisles and admiring the many varietals of wine that are available. There's so many that I didn't even know that I haven't even tried yet. I'm so excited to share with you all. On the weekends, I learned that they offer wine tasting, and perhaps maybe during the week. I know I was at the Newark location, and they also offer wine classes where you can try 8 to 10 wines and learn about them in detail. I believe the classes are like $20, but you'll need to call your location for more details and times. Here's a little peek at what the Newark location is offering you. Now, let me tell you about the wine tasting. During my visit, they were offering 5 wines for tasting. They offered 4 red blends and 1 Spanish wine, a Grenache. The wine tasting costs 1 cent because they can't give it away for free, but it's a great way to enhance your shopping experience. I learned about the Witching Hour. That's a new wine for me. Radius, that was a really nice blend. That sweet red, oh my goodness, some of you are going to love that. And the San Gregorio Grenache was very nice. Now on to the 5 wines. Red blend. A blend of varietals like Merlot, Cabernets, and Pinots. They range from dry to very sweet and can be enjoyed year-round. There's that Witching Hour. I really enjoyed that. That's a new line for me. I'm going to be trying a lot of them, and they're a great price point.